Trauma is not stored in the body. As if my topic, the last one I covered, wasn't controversial enough, I've got another hot take today. Trauma isn't stored in the body. Yeah, I said it. Trauma isn't like a tumor. You can't find it in one single location. For network neuroscientists and biologists, this shouldn't come as a big surprise. But this may be a bit shocking to anyone who's ever read the book, The Body Keeps the Score. Today, I'd like to bring a more nuanced perspective into the conversation about where trauma is stored. The body doesn't keep the score. The brain does, but the body is the scoreboard. Let's find out how. Before we dive in, though, hi. If you're new here, I'm Cody. My degree is in cognitive behavioral neuroscience, and I'm trained in IFS psychotherapy, a type of trauma therapy. I spent over 22,000 hours studying the nervous system and the mind so that you don't have to. And I've helped thousands of anxious achievers heal relationship trauma, high-functioning anxiety, and so much more with neuroscience and IFS. Be sure to hit the subscribe below so you never miss a video. Love to see you in here. Let's dive in. Where is trauma really? Let's start with the question that sparks debate across all trauma therapy rooms, social media, everywhere. It's this: where is it stored? At face value, it sounds poetic and intuitive, maybe even empowering in a way. But what does it actually mean? To answer this, we need to clarify a core distinction. Just because trauma manifests in the body doesn't mean it's stored in the body as if it were a physical object tucked away in your fascia, your muscle cells, your cellular processes, the energy, whatever. So what's really going on then? It's a great question. It's a mixture of neuroscience and psychology, which I love. So let's dive into this. Like, how does it manifest? Like, what's the nervous system's role in this? So imagine your nervous system like the electrical wiring in a house. When trauma happens, it's like a circuit breaker gets tripped. Not only does that moment of danger get encoded in your brain, but the entire system, brain, nerves, muscles, hormones, start to behave as if the threat is still ongoing. This is not about storage. It's about a system-wide shift. Let's break it down region by region. Not every single one of them. This is an all-inclusive, but can't talk about this without the amygdala. So this is your fear processing hub. In trauma survivors, it's often on high alert, scanning constantly for danger. I recently had a mouse in my apartment. Scared the crap out of me. It was in my bed when I woke up. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And it freaked me out. And I still, now, when I go into my room at nighttime, still freaks me out. Every sound terrifies me because my amygdala is on high alert. That's an example. My hippocampus, it's the next one, is in charge of context and time. It has place cells. So it knows when that happened, that traumatic thing happened, and the amygdala dripped stress chemicals and interwove some emotional resonance into those scary memories. I was in my room. And it has those place cells, okay? So it's in charge of context and time. Trauma disrupts its function, the hippocampus's function, which is why traumatic memories often feel timeless and fragmented. There's no beginning, middle, end, oftentimes. I see this a lot with my clients, too. They don't always have a perfect beginning, middle, end story that is accompanying their trauma or traumatic experience. Makes sense, because their hippocampus is turned off, downregulated. We won't get that specific. The prefrontal cortex is the other one. This is the part that helps you regulate and reason. When trauma is happening, this gets overridden, okay? And its functioning can stay impaired long afterwards, right? So again, let's just go back to the mouse. I logically know. I know, oh yeah, there's the guy said everything's cool. They sealed up the holes. There's no signs of them. The pest guy said it was all good. But surprise, surprise, the logical, rational portion of my brain is underfunctioning, even after knowing all these things and even after the event itself. So kind of interesting. All right, last but not least is the autonomic nervous system, or the ANS. Trauma alters the balance between your sympathetic, your fight or flight, and your parasympathetic branches, these two different sides of your autonomic nervous system, keeping you stuck in survival mode. Okay, so I can feel at nighttime and retrain my nervous system that little sounds are not a mouse. I will be okay. I'm healthy. I'm not in danger. I have to train my autonomic nervous system about that so I can stay in my parasympathetic and actually get to sleep. All of these different systems and so many more that I couldn't even begin, like the HPA axis, and there's so many other areas, so many other pieces of your nervous system and biology that are interacting. All these systems work together, and when trauma hits, they reorganize themselves around threat detection and survival, often long after the threat has passed. This is why trauma shows up as hypervigilance, chronic muscle tension, digestive issues, insomnia, emotional numbing, or even dissociation. That's a whole nother topic, but dissociation isn't always bad. It gets a bad rap, but it's not always bad. It's actually super, super helpful at times. So more on that in another episode here, but it's not about where trauma is stored. It's about how the entire system has been reshaped. So why do people say it's stored in the body?